Hi and welcome to Hoxton Therapy. This is a narration of one of our articles. Upsurge in depressive symptom amid COVID-19 pandemic reveals human reality in social media engagement. The prevalence of coronavirus has caused us a paradigm shift in our daily lifestyle. We have transitioned from our regular physical activity to on-web activities of Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, Twitter and TikTok, with all experiencing dramatic growth as more and more users flock to the platforms. Amid the social media platforms enjoying new sign-ups are also Zoom and Netflix. Around this time, America and the United Kingdom, for instance, have experienced more depression rates and several other mental health symptoms other than other countries. American population sample involving more than 169,243 people reported that depression, 74%, and anxiety, 65%, were mostly caused by isolation and loneliness, according to a Mental Health American study. It is not saying the depression and anxiety trends during the pandemic are related. Due to isolation and lockdown orders, various digital platforms were welcoming new sign-ups and active users across the globe. Many people will attempt to soften the emotional loneliness, trepidation and isolation by transitioning into addictive social media users. It is, however, surprising that this transitioning is clearly not doing enough in easing human feelings, promoting our mental health amid COVID-19 pandemic. It is certainly obvious that shifting to digital platforms and social media because we are lonely or feel isolated doesn't help us get through different times. Humans are typically social beings, one way or another. We must engage in person contact as well as face-to-face socializing, and studies have shown the significant impact that has on depression. For example, Elmer and Christoph earlier January study. Another study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society by Oregon Health and Science University discovered that people with less frequent social contact, occurring less in a month, experienced double depressive symptoms than those who visit colleagues and relatives, with minimum to 3 times in a week. Surprisingly, one would expect that being on the phone, chatting and emailing would solve the social contract issues, but the same study revealed that simply maintaining contact by phone calls or emails had no effect on depression among people. Although telephone has over time been rated as the most common mode of social contact, however, it has not depicted any effect on depression among individuals, as depression rate has generally maintained and remained steady across the different levels of telephone calling and also emailing. This finding has been further confirmed by the outbreak of the pandemic. For instance, data published by the Office of National Statistics in mid-August showed a double increase in depression rate during COVID-19 pandemic. The data breakdown further revealed that at least 19.2% of UK adults experienced between moderate to severe levels of depression in June this year. This is opposed to 9.7% trend reported before the lockdown. Meanwhile, around the time in the US, August 2020, the Centre for Disease Control and Depression reported that the prevalence of anxiety symptoms was almost 3 times than it was in previous rate in June 2019, with an increase from 8.1% to 25.5% among American adults. It is more worrisome as depression symptoms were 4 times higher than last year's occurrences, 6.5% to 24.3%. This uprising in mental health problems is hence evident in the growth of social media engagement. In the first few months into the outbreak of coronavirus, end of April to be precise, the number of active users on Facebook jumped to well over 3 billion people, and its sister platform Twitter active users also experienced 34% increment by June 2020. Many of us are on social media, and the essence of this is to prevent contracting and spreading the virus. Therefore, by this recent trend in depression and anxiety, we can infer that social media has actually done nothing to help our needs for social and human contact. In reality, we will be overestimating to expect that simply joining digital and social media platforms would solve our psychological problems imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are engulfed with the fear of losing our jobs, homes, our loved ones, and most importantly, we are worried about losing our lives. So, it is clearly unrealistic to think that seeking solace and refuge on social media or other digital platforms will alleviate those worries and fears. However, since isolation and loneliness are still the biggest factors in rising depression and anxiety trends, it is not only likely that COVID-19 pandemic or unemployment is really affecting our mental wellness directly, as suggested by the Mental Health American study. Rather, it is our inability to establish human contact that explains the concern to our mental health. That is so to say, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others do not actually help our sociability. It then suggests that social media cannot substitute in-person interaction and connection. Other than to help us achieve our social goals, social media and other online platforms can be dangerous. Even previous research corroborates this, that regular use of Facebook can predispose one to both anxiety and depressive symptoms. All this boils down to the question, if joining social media platforms cannot help combat our feelings of being lonely and isolated, what then is their purpose? Well, you may argue that they are good advertising and political campaign tools, but aside all of that, what else are they good for? Hi, we hope you enjoyed that narration of one of our articles on our website, hoxtontherapy.com. As usual, we have our podcast which answers your question, and the name of the podcast is the Ask Hoxton Therapy Show. You can ask us questions on social media and we will answer those questions in upcoming either video content, and of course when our video content's done, our podcast content audio is done as well. So stay safe out there. It's COVID-19 at the moment. Until next time, goodbye. Never act on any advice given in these articles, videos or audios. Always seek professional help before acting on anything you read or watch or listen to on this website, or in our podcast, or on our YouTube channel, or anywhere on our social media.